Oftentimes when we're doing our tours here at the Vite Automotive Foundation, we talk about the very rare and unusual pumps that we have here within the collection. And the Raymond Garage pump that we have here that was built in the 1920s is a pretty spectacular pump. You look at the front of it and you see all the custom adornments, the heavy casting, but that's pretty common for the style of company that Raymond Garage pumps were. They didn't build very many pumps, but the ones that they did do were very high quality, very highly detailed front pieces. This is what we would call a 4-in-1 pump. This one actually has the different grades of oil on the back, an air compressor in the bottom of it, and also a water spigot. It was an all-inclusive pump, so if this is the only pump that you had within your station, it had a lot of flexibility. This one has a patent date of 1916. As you look at the stained glass on the side of the pump here, you also see that it has some of the expanded mesh in the front, so when vehicles were driving by on the gravel roads and they kicked up rocks along there, they wouldn't be able to kick them out and knock one of the panels out of the front of it. It also kept theft to a minimum. As we move on to some of the other pumps in our collection, we'll hit the Richfield one up here, and that has 8 different selections of oil in it. And so when you look at that, you say, why 8 different selections of oil? It was becoming more and more common where everybody had their brand affiliation at that time. And so if you came in and you just needed some gas up there and say, hey, you know, I can top you off with your oil. We have quality products from Pennzoil, Standard Oil, Sinclair. It's all about the brand recognition at that point. You're seeing those mergers and acquisitions by the different brands and things. And it became increasingly more important for stations to have every one of those different brands on hand, so you're not mixing different grades of oil or different brands of oil at that point. This particular brand of gas pump is called a Keezy. This is from the West Coast. So they would actually have an air-induced bellow system in the back, and you pump it up, it would push pressure into the lines or whatever in the back of the station out to the different segments in the center meridian. It would just push it out into the different oil cans like you see here, and then they would top the car off 1 quart at a time. You could just use exactly what you needed and just charge your customer appropriately. So a lot of flexibility with the pump, but these were just never very popular out here in the Midwest due to the cold weather. You couldn't imagine trying to pump the oil through the lines in the ground or whatever in mid-January in Minnesota. This particular gas pump here is a Royal Dayton. You can tell that this one is also a 10-gallon visible pump, as well as the keys you have to the right of this pump. This one at night when you're done, there's actually weights in the bottom of it, so if you grab it right here or whatever and you move it up, you can lock it up for the evening. Again, you can see the different brands of oil along the top there. Very expensive pump for its time and what it would do. Again, this would be late 20s, early 30s. On this one here, it has a different style spigot. This one you push in on it, it just lets the oil flow out of it. We have a lot of rare different pumps, and we kind of take for granted some of the pumps that we have in our collection, like this Bennett 541. It's a little bit more commonplace of a pump here that actually have a great story behind them. Webb Gasoline started out in Duluth, Minnesota, and they're very small chains. Usually when you pull into their stations, they would have between 2 and 3 pumps. They would offer gasoline and service work in the stations. The company was started up by the Erickson family, and they were bought out by several others, and then they ended up buying the company back. So the Erickson family has had a long-standing history with gasoline here in Minnesota. They went away from the Webb brand. They started up another company called Super America Stores. They moved away from the service stations when they left the Erickson style brand, started to migrate into the modern convenience store, and we kind of take the modern convenience store for granted. Super America brought in what they call the Super Mom brands, and so all of those things are just a changing of market share that we would see throughout time. The Erickson family really put the modern convenience store into its own realm when they brought in Super Moms. We're very, very proud of our Minnesota history here. As you look back at those types of things and how they've really not only put Minnesota on the map, but changed convenience stores forever.